All right. We're here today for the energy debate on fossil fuels versus renewables. Can renewables replace fossil fuels? Let's find out. Today is 21st of June, 2025, and this is 4 p.m. Our main speaker for today's session will be Dr. Kunle Adeleke, HOD of Mechanical Engineering Department from Nile University, Abuja. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So basically, this topic is highly relevant as the world seeks sustainable energy solutions amidst climate change concerns. So fossil fuels, while reliable and currently dominant, contribute significantly to greenhouse emissions. Renewables such as solar, wind offer cleaner alternatives but faces challenges like infrastructure, cost. So basically, this debate will enlighten us more on the relevancy of both sides of the debate. So, is the person running the slides here? Destiny.
I can actually project my slide when you are ready anyway.
Okay. So, let's opening remark quickly. Okay, our opening remark will be taken by Okaba Destiny. So, Okaba, you are welcome to take the opening remark. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Please confirm if you can hear me.
Okay, we can proceed, please.
Yeah, I am Okaba Destiny. You already said that. And I'd like to welcome every one of us to today's session on energy evolution, the energy debate today. So we'll be exploring the contrast between fossil fuels, which is the traditional energy source, as we all know, and renewables, which is a sustainable alternative for future. And with our esteemed guest, a seasoned engineer, Dr. Adekunle Adeleke, who will be sharing... Sorry about that. Can you still hear me?
Yes, we can.
Who will be sharing insights on whether renewables can replace fossil fuels. And I'll encourage everyone to listen attentively and feel free to engage and ask questions when the time comes. And let's make the most out of this discussion. Thank you. Welcome once again.
Yeah, thank you, Destiny, for that wonderful opening remark. So we'll be going straight into our safety brief, which will be taken by Victor Samuel. Victor Samuel, you're on the call, please.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
Can I confirm if you can hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. For the safety remark, for this program, to ensure safety as engineers, the first thing we have to do any contributions or questions. The second is that you should ensure you can still hear. Ensure you stay near the fire alarm with your headsets. Mute your mic when not speaking. Use the chat box for comments and questions if any exists. Always stay safe, be alert as engineers, and maintain a good sitting position, because as engineers, safety is paramount and safety first. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor, for the safety brief. As we all know, safety is a way of life of an engineer, and it should be a way of life of everyone. So before we start the program, that's why I brought the safety brief first. So we'll be going straight into the introduction of guests, skipping the icebreaker session. So I'll be taking it because of our time and because of the schedule of our esteemed speaker. So introduction of guest speaker. Dr. Adekunle Adeleke is the head of the Department of Mechanical Engineering at Nile University of Nigeria and principal investigator of the award-winning Waste to Wealth Research Group. He also serves as associate chief editor of the Nile Journal of Engineering and Applied Science, NJEAS. He earned his Bachelor of Engineering and Masters in Engineering and PhD in Mechanical Engineering from the prestigious University of Ilorin and completed a TWAS CSIR predoctoral fellowship at CSIR NML India, where he developed a patented hybrid fuel briquettes and published 16 high-impact papers. Dr. Adeleke has authored over 220 articles in reputable international journals, holding 5 Nigerian patents, and contributed to 12 book chapters with Elsevier and Taylor and Francis. Recognized as now University of Nigerian's top researcher since 2022, he has consistently ranked among Nigerian's top 50 scholars according to the Civil since 2020 among millions. His current work on direct reduced iron using lean grade coal and torrefied biomass targets national industrial transformation. A current registered engineer and member of the Nigerian Youth Academy, Dr. Adeleke is also a consultant to the House Committee on Street Development. He has published 2 motivational book volumes titled The Process, aimed at inspiring young people. Sir, with your bio, you have really inspired us as well by reading only your bio. So I highly welcome you, sir, to start your session, sir.
Thank you so much for having me. I believe you can hear me loud and clear.
Yeah, we can. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, so I'll go ahead and share my screen. I believe you can see it now. If you can see it, just let me know that, okay, we can. I've shared my screen. Can you see?
We can, sir. We can, sir. Go on, sir.
Good. I had to come down to the office to quickly have this meeting with you guys. Thank you for having me again. And I'm delighted to always speak with the young people, especially those with passion for engineering, because that's very important and that can save us as a nation. I was in Ghana last 2 weeks to speak on same topic, last 2 or 3 weeks to speak on same topic, of course, to some Nigerian leaders who choose Ghana to be their destination to have the retreat on energy transition from fossil to renewable and clean energy sources. And so the argument has been that can renewable actually take over from fossil fuel? Let's journey together into this 30 or 40 minutes discussion. So my name is Adekunle Adeleke. As he has introduced, and currently serve as the head of Department of Mechanical Engineering. So we'll talk about energy debate, fossil fuel versus renewable energy sources. Yeah, so to start with, Gloria, I think it's bolder like this, right? Hello?
Yes, sir.
You,
Can see.
it's more clear like this, right? So,
Yes,
right.
sir.
Okay. So in the midst of our discussion, if you can't hear me, please let me know. I said a transition to clean energy is about making an investment in our future, as stated by Gloria Ruben. And if you look at this, you would think that even from starting the debates, that I'm already biased towards something. I'm already biased towards clean energy sources, which renewable energy is one of it. Renewable energy materials are one of it. And so you say, oh, this man is already biased against fossil fuel. Now, we cannot not afford to be biased towards renewable energy sources. But you don't say because you have renewable energy sources and clean energy sources, now you throw away the foundation. What brought us hitherto, what brought us here is not renewable energy. It is now we begin to look at these renewable energy sources. What brought us here are fossil fuel. So we can't just exit all of a sudden and begin to blame it for what he has done. We should give kudos for what fossil fuel has contributed to the developmental growth of humankind. All right. So am I biased? Maybe. we'll see in our discussion. So the key take-home from our discussion will be the environmental impact of these two sources of fuel, the economic viability, the technological challenges that are there, the policy support, and then we'll look at the controversy around both sources. So let's take part one to be fossil fuel. What are fossil fuel? Fossil fuels are non-renewable energy sources that are formed or buried for thousands of years. We're talking about plants, we're talking about animals that have been buried for millions or thousands of years, okay? Now, as a result of the influence of heat, pressure, moisture, and all of those things on it, they metamorphosize into energy sources in terms of carbon-dominated material. Now, the common fossil fuel we have include coal, oil, most of us know petroleum, of course, oil, crude oil generally, it has different strata. You guys are petroleum experts. And then natural gas, okay? So the fossil source, they are highly dense in energy, okay? But we know that they are also limited. They are also limited in terms of the tonnage that is available, in terms of their mining. Over time, you can actually consume, for example, take example as coal. You can mine completely the coal that is in a particular mine. You can mine it completely. So if you can, a deposit can be exhausted. And the rate at which is going with different researches that are coming on and several things that even myself have researched on, have postulated, in the next 40, 50 years, there are tendencies that coal, the deposit of coal might be going into extinction. Even the fossil fuel, in terms of our petroleum and oil, crude oil, the deposit is also diminishing. Okay, apart from the fact that we already have a challenge with their global contribution to greenhouse gas emission. All right. Apart from that, all right. So I say, although the dominant energy source over the decade, fossil fuel, although it has been the dominant energy source over the decade, it still contributes high carbon footprint, which affect the environment. It releases large amounts of greenhouse gases and pollutants. And that's the concern of a lot of us right now. If you go to China, you go to India, some of the environments are purely dominated with the use of coal, especially in their metallurgical applications and even energy generation. And so at that rate, you see some degree of fog coming down over the city because of the kind of greenhouse gases emission that are coming from the use of fossil fuel. So this negative effect is already affecting the world. Of course, like I was discussing in Ghana last week, as I said, I told them, I said, even though we can't blame Africa, because Africa is still contributing nothing higher than 3 to 4% of the global greenhouse gases emission. We still see these developing nations are still the one, developing nations and even some other developing nations that are better than us, are still the one contributing largely. China, for example, say China, say Australia, okay? Even though there is what is called carbon capture and storage, CCS technology now, where they are trying to capture their carbon, but they are still the one contributing the largest amount, okay? However, the world is already concerned, so we should not fold our hands as a nation, especially Nigerian young people. We should begin to see how we can also match up with the pace. If not, we'll be left behind. I've always seen it over and over. It's as though we're actually behind before, but what can we do as a nation to mitigate this distance and also match up with the developmental plan that is along the energy usage? We know that the nation will not develop if the energy capacity in generations and utilization is not there, okay? Take technology, take education, take energy. Once a nation is backward in that, just forget it. The nation will be backward. All right. So that's why the growth of renewable in recent decades, due to environmental impact and concern, the world remains heavily dependent on fossil fuel. And even till now, about 80% of global energy generation comes from coal, oil, and natural gases. And that's the truth. even now, even though there is projection that as by 2025, which we are in now, that there was a projection that we should have around 30 to 40%, but with the latest report of IEA that we still had, is around 24% now. That renewable energy is coming into play, and it's because of the challenges with its total replacement of fossil fuel. So we'll talk about that as we move on. So our words in data, there's this a site. You know that the Industrial Revolution unlocked a whole new energy sources, fossil fuel. This fossil energy has been a fundamental driver of technological, social, economic, and development progress that followed. That's the truth. Fossil fuel brought a lot of developmental plan, concrete work that you are seeing today, development in materials, development in medical science, development in economy is because of fossil fuel. That's the truth. But as it was bringing in, something is also going on. So in the 20th century, oil and gas were dominant in transportation, in heating, in power, even industrial activities, which in turn promote trade. That's the truth. Okay, coal, oil, talk about your train, talk about your jet, talk about your energy, talk about anything for medical application. We're still dealing with fossil fuel. Okay, so the consumption of fossil fuel globally is roughly 8 times higher than what was projected in 1950. It was stated that by 1980, we should be having the use more than 8 times, and it's even more now because of the growth in population, because of the growth in technology. And when I say technology now, AI is coming into play in every facet of life. Artificial intelligence. And so when you see artificial intelligence coming into place, it deals with a lot of data. And these data sources and their data center consume terawatt of energy when it comes to terawatt of energy, which renewable energy cannot sustain that. Okay, some of you use ChatGPT, some of you use Deep Search, some of you use, just talk about any AI that you know. Any little line that you type in AI is consuming energy for it to generate response for you. And so imagine millions of people that are using artificial intelligence to do a lot of things now. And that's why large amount of energy is becoming needed. So on that basis, do you think renewable energy can suddenly substitute the fossil fuel? No. But I know that we can systematically over time phase it out, but we can't phase it out now. And I'm not even saying the next 50 years. We'll talk about that. All right. Coal, which was once the king of oil, has seen its share decline in many places, while oil and gas industry has expanded. Okay. So today, oil remains the single largest energy source on the order of 1/3 of primary energy, followed by coal and then natural gas, before you begin to talk about renewable energy sources. So this trend shows that while renewable energies are fast growing, there's still a lot to be done in that sector when it comes to renewable energy. Coal, oil, natural gas are still dominant. All right. We are saying they are contributing to greenhouse gases emission and all of those stuff. Why? Yes. But the rate at which technology is also growing necessitates for larger amount of energy. And that's a major issue, okay? Which now means that if anything will be done for renewable energy to actually begin to substitute fossil fuel, it will be investment policies and all, as we see in my conclusion. So fossil fuel enjoy an already established infrastructure. These are the reasons why it's continuing to have its way in energy world. Decades and sometimes century old. Okay, these include pipeline, refinery, power plants, gas network, engines that are already designed for centuries. So to begin to design something new now and change is going to be causing, so a government will be thinking, what will be our plan to actually change this infrastructure? How much are we going to be spending if we are going to jettison coal-fire plants, if we are going to jettison coal-fire train, if we are going to jettison coal thermal plants, or we're going to jettison coal metallurgical processes? So somebody will be asking that question and say, what wisdom is there? So I think if we want to do this, we need to begin to see how we can phase out. So that is the major concern now, all right? So they are also able to generate a steady base load power 23/7, regardless of weather or time of the day. Turbine engines can run wherever they are needed. And if you look at it, if you consider solar energy in this dimension, when the weather is not good, you are not going to enjoy your solar energy. Okay. When there is droughts, hydro energy will not bring you what you need. Okay. So like that, if the wind is not up to the speed that is needed to turn turbine, you are going to be disturbing yourself. But imagine you have your turbine, you have your coal, you have your gas. It can do whatever you want for you. All right. So, and that's why fossil fuel is still enjoying what it's enjoying now. So, for you to send it away, you will need a massive overhauling, which is not going to be sudden. All right. The energy density of coal and fossil fuel outweigh that of renewable energy, even though significant progress has been made. And that's number one thing I was talking about the other time, that fossil fuel contain significantly dense energy. I research in biomass energy, for example. I do a lot of work in biomass energy. And so we use it in energy generation. We use it as metallurgical feedstock. You know, when you want to reduce your iron, all right, you can use biomass in place of coal. What you need is just carbon, all right? What you need is carbon. The same thing with energy generation. You need carbon to initiate, to interact with oxygen, and in the process generate heat, and then the heat up water, the water becomes steam, you turn your turbine, all of those processes. Okay, the same process if you are also in reduction of iron ore. Okay, imagine you want to produce iron from iron ore. Okay, you need carbon to initiate the Baudouin reaction. Carbon plus oxygen giving you CO plus CO2. Okay, now that CO is what initiates reduction process. And so carbon can come from renewable sources in terms of biomass. It can come from coal. But the challenge is that the energy density in coal is far, far higher than that of biomass. And so the need for you to do pretreatment for biomass itself, in terms of torrefaction, pyrolysis, or whatsoever technology you want to use to improve it. Okay, when you now do that, you improve the carbon content, the energy content, even we have done improvement, pretreatment process, is still not up to carbon. And so somebody will say, okay, if the energy I need for this process is this amount and this is giving me, maybe I should just do partial substitute for now so that we can reduce the carbon footprint that will be emitted from the process. So the energy density of fossil fuel is still very high, even though there are techniques, like I said, torrefaction, pyrolysis, gasification, carbonizations to improve the energy density of biomass, is still a work in progress. Very deep work in progress. You can, anywhere you can use coal, you can use biomass, for example, all right, to replace it, but you can't do a total replacement now. What you need is partial replacement, all right? So fossil fuels suffer from the following socioeconomic limitation. Number one is the climate and environmental impact. If you can see the release of greenhouse gases, methane, CO2, SOS, NOS, all the families, all right, is giving us concern, all right? It's giving us concern. Imagine the ozone layer is totally perforated. Even the way we are now, imagine the heat. Some of us who are in the north, when the heat is up to 48, 49 degrees C, you will be feeling it so much. And now imagine the perforation in the ozone layer such that the heat ray from the sun can directly hit man. It's going to be very terrible for us. So that's a major concern. That's why climate action is one of the United Sustainable Development Goal now, SDG goal. All right. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
And are you following me? Or am I too fast?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Following you.
Okay. Finite
That's
resources. Fossil fuel, they are finite resources. Geopolitical risk, war policies. Imagine the Niger Delta people continue to complain because you are spoiling their land, you are destroying this, you are doing that. Local environmental damages, you just explained that now. You pour some of this waste into the remnants into the sea body, destroy the environment. Some people cannot even farm in it. Hello? Somebody is talking?
Continue, sir, please, sir. Continue.
Okay. Market distortion like subsidy, even carbon pricing and climate change damage rebates have now been incorporated in some markets. Okay. We need to see the possibility of actually using the carbon that's coming from this. So how do we do that? These are the challenges with fossil fuel. So let's talk about renewable energy as part 2. Now, renewable energies comes from inexhaustible natural replenished sources. Okay, and we have this category which involves solar is there. Okay, all you need is to tap it. Solar energy sources. Okay, you have wind. Not all wind can actually generate energy. There are requisites into it. All right. I'm not teaching the basis. We're just doing the debates. Hydro. Okay. Waterhead. Geothermal. Okay. A country like Iceland is basically using geothermal for their energy generation. Nigeria dwells so much with hydro. I did my IT in 2006-7 in hydro power station, and so it's a beautiful. It was a beautiful environment, and knowledge was really shared. You see, once there is drought, the waterhead drops. It affects the rate at which you can actually power your turbine. So sometimes you have to shut down 2 or 3 turbines out of the 6 running. So that's limited. And then we have biomass and bioenergy. That's where people are exploiting now for replacing coal in thermal plants. They want to replace coal in transportation sources. All right. And then you have solar. Solar energy is an S using photovoltaic panel or concentrated solar technologies. Wind is an S using turbine, which have existed over 500 years. Hydropower is an S using dam. Geothermal is an S by using steam turbine. Okay, geothermal is more or less you're drilling into the heart. Okay, you're talking about heat and the heart. Okay, you're drilling to the heart, and then you are tapping the heat there to turn to boil water, and then the water boil. The water boil will turn to steam, and steam rotate turbine. Bioenergy is derived from organic material like biomass, whether lignocellulosic or non-lignocellulosic. Once it contains some degree of carbon, it can be used. These resources are largely abundant, and they produce very low emission. Okay, now you are seeing the difference between them now. The other one gives you large emission, even though it contains high energy density. This one contains lower energy density, but it gives you low emission also. Gives you low emission too. All right. So the environmental benefits of renewable has been a major driver of its widespread adoption. The reason why people are saying, okay, let's use this, because there is minimal greenhouse gases, okay, critical reduction in that area. So everybody say, oh, we can go for this. Renewable has also grown to be reasonably competitive cost-wise in recent years. Like solar cost is falling by 85%, even though it's still tough for individuals, especially the villagers, to have access to it. But at least it's going down now. I remember I want to send somebody to install something that can carry some amount of household equipment for my father. And the guy was saying 2.5 million naira and all of those. Imagine people in the village, can they afford that? Is it possible? So, but it's dropping. And over time, very soon, it should be able to drop. And imagine we have a government who can actually invest in large solar farm where we have microgrids of solar farm, okay, linking to the national grid, because that's another problem anyway. Renewable energy sources, according to ILO, has also created 3 times more jobs, because everybody is saying renewable now. I just told you now, there are boys that are mounting solar panel, they have learned the art, how to repair the battery, so it's creating job. In fact, by 2030, somebody is saying that we should have up to 9 million jobs created by just solar panel or renewable energy sources. Renewables also enjoy price stability, which are accrued from importation costs and geopolitical instability. So if you look at the graph, you will see the global P&C of the current global energy consumption breakdown. Coal is trailing behind oil. Oil is still having the largest amount in terms of its consumption. Okay. Now, you will see the renewable sources are still very low: hydro, wind, and solar. Natural gases and coal, these guys are still the main player. This coal, oil, natural gas are still the main player. Even though nuclear is also coming up now, and I told you because of the rate of growth of artificial intelligence, which is coming, Internet of Things that is coming into every phases of our life now, there is necessity for us to begin to look for how we are actually going to generate this energy. If not, well, I'm not sure. I don't know how we're going to match up. All right. So these hydro, wind, and solar actually need to be improved. Okay. But you see, look at the big guys. Coal is standing up there. Oil is standing up there. Natural gas is standing up there. So for this guy to meet up, it will be a lot of policies, a lot of investments, a lot of innovations and research work will have to come into place, which is where you will be coming in as students, as a researcher, to begin to see how we can reduce costs while we improve this technology and make it available for everyone. We know it's beneficial, but you can't send the big guys away because they're still supplying us what we need now. And what the future holds with the technology advancement in AI technology, AI medical, AI in everything now, you need larger source of energy. So current global energy breakdown, like I've explained, I think I've explained this slide, that oil accounted for roughly a third of energy supply and coal is about 1/4. So renewable, which include hydro, solar, wind, and all, they are still contributing very low to the global energy consumption. But we hope by the information we got from the IRENA project that renewable will provide 5% of electricity by 2030 and decarbonize 90% of the power sector by 2050. But this change is still very slow. This change is still very slow. This is just cooled simulation. I don't know whether you're getting me. Projection. These are projections. It's not what's obtainable in the market. If not, you'll be in the dark. Your technology will not grow. Your education system will suffer. Your medical sector will suffer. So there is just projection for now. But why is this transitioning very difficult? So let's look at this transitioning.
All right,
So
sir.
challenges. Yes.
Sir, please, your slide is not moving. Well, I don't know. Is it just me?
Where was the last one you saw it? Where did you see? What was the last slide you see?
From the beginning, like buyers already, like a transition to clean energy is about making an investment about our future. Like
Are
the
you
beginning.
kidding me? And I
Yeah.
asked you guys to talk. I'm on slide 13 already.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry about that, sir. I
Let me
just
stop
noticed.
share. Let me stop sharing and share again.
Okay, sir.
Now, can you see my screen now? Entire screen.
Yes, sir. I can see your entire screen.
So what can you see now?
Yeah, I can see the chart now, sir.
Good. So maybe we should stay like this. Now, let me project it. Can you see it now?
Yes, sir. I can see it. Perfect.
Okay. This is I was explaining this current breakdown that I was trying to explain, that the big guy, coal, oil, and natural gas still dominates the energy sector, and you can't just push them away. Imagine the renewable energy guy that we are actually canvassing for, because it gives us what do you call it? It gives us less emission. they are still very low in terms of their contribution to the current one, but there is projection. There is projection that by 2050, we should be able to decarbonize the power sector by 90% and also increase the renewable energy sources by 65%, okay? 65% of the energy generation should be from renewable. But I'm saying, why is this low? Can you see this transitioning? Part 3 now.
Yes, sir. Yes,
All
I
right,
can
so
see.
the challenge to this transitioning, one is, what are these challenges? Intermittency and reliability. So variable output, solar farm generates power less than 20% of time due to nights, cloud, and what do you call it? Seasonal variation. That's the truth. So because of this intermittency, you can't compare it with what's hydro is given. Anyway, hydro also has its limitation, but you can't compare it with coal that is readily available. Okay. Now, wind turbine stops in calm weather. When you have calm weather, there is no wind. What do you expect? The wind turbine will stop. Hydropower can falter during droughts. So this variability means renewable cannot always supply electricity on demand without a backup or storage. So you need a storage device, okay? And that is where energy storage device, which we have limitation there also. So to balance supply and demand, intermittent renewable require energy storage, the likes of battery, pump hydro. Some of my PhD students are working on producing battery from sawdust. Importation of these are extremely high, especially for us in the developing country. Some developed countries are already enjoying this variation very well. But for us in developing countries, we still have huge challenge. I have two of my PhD students developing capacitors from sawdust, okay, battery from sawdust, all right? But you see, research needs to go on, policy needs to be on ground to actually support this. So you need flexible backup, okay? Building sufficient storage capacity is still very expensive. This PhD student I'm talking about now, they have spent close to 3 million naira in just developing battery. So imagine what will be the challenge. Lithium ion battery storage energy for hours, not for days. So this insufficient for extended low output period. So when you have low output period, like when there is rain, when there is night and all of those stuff, the weather is not good, you need energy storage device. Grid infrastructure is another challenge. Why this transition is actually slow. Upgrade is needed. Many grids are not equipped for renewable variability. Okay, we require upgrade. Transmission challenge is another thing. Now, remote renewable site, the likes of desert solar system, you will need a long distance transmission line, which these are very costly things. And also sizing your renewable into the grid infrastructure is another major headache that we have. Upfront cost and material. I have to rush now. Now, although operating costs are low, the initial capital expenses of renewable projects can be high. Turbine, solar panel, inverter, grid upgrade. These are very serious. So financing these costs require investment. So renewable technology also rely on specialized material like rare earths, lithium, and silicon. So for instance, if you are producing solar panel and turbine blade generate CO2, waste disposal. So these are actually issues also for this technology to take over from fossil fuel. I hope my slide is moving on.
Yes, sir, it's moving.
Okay, so if it's moving, where am I now?
The political and social barriers.
Thank you. Political and social barrier is another thing. Mark Jacobson of Stanford University said the main barrier to getting to 100% clean energy are social and political, not technical, economical. Of course, while you believe that statement to a certain extent, we still know the technological part is there. So fossil fuel subsidy, for example, $7 trillion in global subsidy in 2022 distort markets. Okay, economic disruption. So transitioning means disrupt community reliant on fossil fuel jobs. So some people are already working in thermal plants. So if you stop it, you are going to be saying people are going to lose their job. isn't it? Hundreds of people, thousands of people will lose their jobs. So these are also there. People who are importing generator for us in Nigeria, for example, now is their major business. You become an enemy to them. All right. So there are a lot of political interplay that are also there. And the government must have a will for such to come on board. Part 5, which is the last part, is the future outlook. So renewable energy technology have advanced to a point where the mass development is feasible. We have seen that. You can actually have a massive grid, just like they have in Egypt, just like they have in Tunisia. I was in Tunisia last week. I came back on Sunday. They have large solar farm in Tunisia that power a whole city. Okay, so we should begin to look at how this can be done, but you need, what do you call it? Investment. You need a will. Solar and wind are already mature and have been deployed in gigawatt scale. That's why I said in gigawatt, not even at small scale, in gigawatt. But you need interest of our government, let's say Nigeria anyway. Now, the question of fully replacing fossil fuel engine projection scenario, and scientific body are already saying that there is a need for us to actually decarbonize. Yes, no doubt. But in decarbonizing, we also need to be wise to know that there are some of the challenges. Can we meet it? For example, the IEA net zero emission by 2050 scenario envision that 90% of global electricity generation should come for renewable by 2050. It's a projection, like I said. So if we are going to achieve this, it requires rapid, sustained action, and we should start now. Okay? It should start now. The country like Germany, they are trying totally now to move away from fossil-based material. All right, and that's why the likes of electric vehicle is coming into place. Electric jets are going to be coming on board very soon. You are going to be seeing geothermal in interplace because every country is blessed with geothermal. So it's just a matter of interest in investment in equipment that is needed and all. All right. So I think I've explained this. Role of other technology, like I said, nuclear energy. It offers low carbon base load power, but faces public resistance. You know the reason? Because of accident that could happen because of nuclear. Actually, if you take a pellet of nuclear energy, just small pellets, it can generate gigawatts of electricity. One small pellet like this can power 1 million houses, 1 million bulb rather, one small pellet. So when you have a nuclear reactor, you enjoy it. The likes of what do you call it? Russia, the like of France. France generates 27 or if not 27% of their energy from nuclear energy sources. It's a clean energy sources because the carbon footprint it emits to the environment is not as huge as that of fossil fuel. But the accidents that could happen and all of those things is the problem. Then number 2 is the carbon capture. This technology is also coming into place where people are saying, okay, if we cannot send fossil away, the emission that is coming from there, is it possible for us to capture it and store it underground? Some petroleum industry uses that. They capture the carbon, store it back into light oil wells, okay, for them to refire again, or some of them store it down there. I don't know, because over time, if you store it in a well that is not having the capacities to still come back and haunt us. All right. So let me wrap up. So there are some aspects I stated that environmental impact. When you look at renewable, it's minimal greenhouse gas emission, reduce air pollution. Fossil fuel, over 75% of global emission, $2.9 trillion in earth cost as of 2018. Cost, solar, 85%, wind, 56%, cheapest new electricity in many regions. Coal is cheaper in some cases, all right? Reliability, intermittent, require storage, grid upgrade. Now, fossil fuel is reliable base load power 24/7 availability. Job creation, as at now, because of the campaign against fossil fuel, the job creation is ×3, okay? 3 more jobs per dollar investments. So that's 9 million net job by 2030. there's a decline in fossil fuel, and this is because automation is coming in, carbon capture storage, and how you can actually reduce human effort in that area is also coming in. Energy security enhances independency, that's renewable, available in all countries. Fossil fuel, 80% of global population are in importing nation, geopolitical risk. Okay, it's not all the nation that have access to oil. It's not everybody that has oil. Okay, but at least renewable energy is available everywhere. Geothermal is available, wind is available, hydro is available. So you just talk about it. We can see that there are huge benefits in renewable energy, but you can't chase the big man fossil fuel away for now. If we are going to do it, we'll do it with wisdom. So conclusively, in striking the right balance. So energy, I said, one, is essential for growth, development, and quality of life. Anywhere there's no energy, there's going to be a big challenge. Number two, fossil fuel offer reliability, high dense energy. But the cost of environmental sustainability at the cost of environmental sustainability. Number three, renewable energy provide cleaner, future-proof alternative, yet there is a lot of challenge in intermittency and infrastructural development. I've talked about that. Transition, not abandoning. So you cannot canvas or say you are biased towards renewable and you're going to say, oh yeah, let's leave it. We are not using fossil fuel again. Then you are deceiving yourself. So what we do is transitioning, not abandonment. So you will be moving small, little by little, into the cleaner future that you're expecting, okay? So because we need to caution, a cautious, planned, and inclusive energy transition is the key, not a sudden switch, because the guy is still massive, he's still big. Then the approach we're actually working on now, one of my PhD students is now a graduate, he's a doctor now, graduated this year. He's working on hybrid system. How do you hybridize, okay, the renewable sources with fossil fuel, and then you size it into the grid system for now to be able to have stability and sustainability. So that's the approach that is coming on. And so now we need innovation, and you students should begin to also innovate. Policy investment, which comes to government, but at least innovation, policy, and investment must work hand in hand to unlock a cleaner future for all of us. So conclusively, the future is not fossil free overnight, but fossil wise today and renewable strong tomorrow. So both are still very key for us. For now, we will transition into renewable completely while we'll phase out the big man called fossil fuel. Thank you for having me, and God bless you.
Thank you very much for this nice, like, it took me back to the classroom. I was like imagining sitting in the classroom and hearing my lecturers teach me over and over again. Overall, it's a wonderful session. So some key takeaways I took from the debate, because it looks like fossil fuel was attacked over and over again. So the key thing that I took away from the debate is fossil fuel has reliability, energy density, like fossil fuels have high energy density, making them a convenient and efficient source of energy. Existing infrastructure, the infrastructure of fossil fuel extraction, transportation, and use is well established and widespread. And for renewables, it is sustainable and it has minimal environmental impact, which is reducing greenhouse gas emissions and air pollution, as well as energy security. Diversifying energy sources with renewable can improve energy security and reduce dependence on finite resource. And you also state that transitioning away from fossil fuel might be difficult at now because it has so many vast consequences that might impact people. So overall, it's been a wonderful session, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I can hear you. Thank you so much.
Very much, sir. So we'll be open to questions now.
Yes.
So please, Claire, with the help with the slides. If you have any question and answers, kindly raise up your hands or use the chat box to send your questions. Okay, I think I'll be welcoming Emmanuel Adejo for the question and answer session. Sorry about that. Emmanuel Adejo, are you on the call?
Yeah, I'm on the call. Please, can you hear me? Hello, Collins, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can.
Okay. Good evening once again, and thank you very much, Dr. Ade, for that insightful lecture on top. Okay, now for the questions, please. If you have a question, please you can indicate like the ask us, maybe write the chat box, or you can raise up your hand so that we'll just call you to speak. But before then, why others drop their question? Okay. I have my own question. I think I have two questions down here. So I don't know. So can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you are not too clear. But go on. Let me.
Okay. So when you're speaking, you spoke about ChatGPT uses energy, something like that. That ChatGPT uses energy, and
Yes.
so I was asking, the process by which ChatGPT uses energy, does it actually promote cleaner energy, or it decreases it?
No. When I say use the energy, just like you light up your bulb at home, just like you use energy for cooking, you use energy, the same process. All right. So it depends on the energy sources you are supplying to it. That's when we know whether it's going to be contributing to greenhouse gas emission. So if you are using majority of these guys, these high-tech company, they actually use geothermal. Some of them majority of them use nuclear energy to power their data center. All right. So, and nuclear energy supplies very low carbon compared to that of fossil fuel. So, it's still called clean energy sources. But I'm saying why I brought in that is the degree of large amount of energy we will need. All right, as the year goes by, these AI are training themselves. The models are growing on daily basis. The improvement are coming in that technology. It means you need large amount of energy to supply their consumption. All right. But with what we have now, what they will be contributing will still be huge because of what they consume in terms of greenhouse gas carbon footprint.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. I think I get it. Okay, there's a question in chat box. Let me go through that. It says, please throw more light on carbon capturing. Yeah, carbon capturing.
Carbon capture
So you get
process.
that?
Well, I am not an expert on carbon capture too much, but what is there is that you imagine your gas flaring, the gas that they are flaring, they find a way to capture, to create a valve to collect it and then throw it. Some people use reservoir to store it. Some people use artificial reservoir. Some people use the land where you are mining as natural reservoir. So there is a lot of technology interplaying into that. I'm not an expert in carbon capture and storage, but I know that people capture your SOS that comes from what you use in your industry, and they channel it back into a reservoir, whether natural or synthetic. Natural by sense, I mean channel it back into your well, oil well, or putting it in a reserve, a design templates. You can actually read more about that. Anyway.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Yes.
So, Eric, I believe you heard what he said, right? So, thank you very much, sir. So, any more questions?
Yes.
We cannot hear you. You're welcome.
I heard what he said. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello.
All right, thank you very much.
We can hear you.
All right, thank you very much, sir, for everything.
All right.
Okay, back to you, Ollie.
So am I free to go? Or there's still question for me?
I don't think there are questions right now. But I think we have to take the photograph session. Collins, can you take over?
Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, that will be the wrap for the question and answer session. So we'll be going straight into the photograph session. Please, everyone turn on your video cam. Please turn on your video cam, please. You can turn off your cams now. So we'll be taking the closing remarks, and it will be taken by me as well. So thank you, sir, for the wonderful lectures. I know you have a busy schedule, but you made out time to be with us here today. We really appreciate you. We really appreciate your teachings and all. I thank everyone for making out time to attend this program today. God bless you all and have a wonderful day. Thank you all.
All right. Thank you.